You're watching Telecom TV from the MEF annual members meeting in Boston. And I'm joined now by Rosemary Cochran and Erin Dunne of Vertical Systems. Rosemary and Erin, thank you both for joining us on Telecom TV today.
Thank you, Gary.
Rosemary, if I could start with you.
Yes.
When we look at the MEF's drive towards these agile third network services, what are the opportunities and challenges associated with this?
Well, the advancement of the way to the third network is well underway, of course, and we are seeing that in many ways, from opportunities specifically on the service provider side, through more efficient operations, more streamlined development of services, and most importantly, the ability to deliver dynamic, innovative services to customers. The challenge is huge at this point, and I would say the single word is standards. I mean, that's really what it comes down to, and specifically the big vision is to have interoperability across multiple providers, across clouds, end-to-end, view, and do this all under an orchestrated, centralized control. To do that is obviously going to take quite a bit of effort, and the MEF has done a lot in terms of getting to that point.
And Erin, do you see the same opportunities and threats?
It's interesting from the end user side is that this is a huge opportunity for end customers, because we're used to our iPhones, we're used to app-driven marketplace availability of new fun apps. And networking is not one of them. And so this is an opportunity for enterprises to purchase services in that style. It's not here yet, but that's what they're looking for. And so we're looking at the LSO and these types of services to enable that type of buying behavior. The challenge for the enterprises is that this is a big change for them. They have to think differently. They're used to a very static networking environment, and this new dynamic environment is different. And I think a very interesting thing is once an end user customer decides to make a change, that opens up a window of opportunity for the service providers. A change is happening, and that is a competitive threat to their existing service provider. So now you have other service providers that can come in and say, hey, here's the type of services that we're offering, do you want to move? And so the existing service provider that it's offering services to these end user customers really has a hard job ahead of them to make sure that they address the needs going forward.
So can we talk about how the MEF certification program and other initiatives such as OpenCS and OpenLSO are paving the way towards these services?
Well, as Rosemary said, it's all about standards at this point. So the MEF has done a very good job of deliberately certifying first the infrastructure and the equipment, CE 1.0, CE 2.0, then the services, then the professionals. 4,000 did we hear?
That's for
4,000 or so
CCPs, right.
Certified professionals at this point, and then looking at how these services interwork with other services, not just Ethernet. The world is not just made out of Ethernet. And then, as you asked about these open LSO and open cloud type of services, now they're looking to open up the APIs and allow other types of technologies to interwork in a very open type of infrastructure.
Mm-hmm. Right, and that that brings up another on the challenge side of trying to get the right skill sets to do this, particularly on the business aspects. Companies have to make a commitment to hire the right people because they may have IT skills but not networking skills and vice versa. So that has been a challenge that we've seen has emerged and is something that's going to continue just in trying to find the right people and to do all these services, who know cloud, who know mobility, who can understand how to put that all together, and data analytics. Much different, big transitions that are underway.
Can I move on to talk about the study you've just conducted, you've just published the results from the MEF Carrier Ethernet Certified Professional Benchmark Study. Rosemary, can I ask what the aim of this study was?
The aim of the study was to look at that certification program, and well, it's been definitely successful. There are over 4,000 CECPs across the world. There were no metrics in terms of what the effectiveness is, in terms of how the MEF CECPs have advanced professionally, and what the impact is on their employers. So we did a survey and had over 330 responses from companies, about 38 companies that were represented. So it was a very broad survey, and we're looking at, how worthwhile is it? Would you recertify, because that is something that needs to happen after a certain period of time? And has it happened within the company to make any changes? And specifically, two areas that impact revenue for companies, and that is for products and services. Has it affected the sales process? And has it affected the order processing flow within a company?
So Erin, what came out of the survey? What the key results were that you found?
One of the key results that we found is that 87% of the folks that participated in the survey found that the MEF CECP professional certification was significantly worthwhile. I mean, we found that, you all take surveys a lot, right? 87% really chose a very high number for that. 85% of them said that they were planning on recertifying. And we saw more than 75% on the sales process found that the certification really helped, was a significant aid to their sales process. I think one of the keys is that they specifically cited that there was much less miscommunication within their organization, with their partners, and with their prospective or existing customers. We also found that over 50% of the respondents cited that the order processing, which was much smoother, specifically because the design process was much more standardized and much more easily communicated throughout the organization.
Now, as we've already discussed, Ethernet's not the only technology in the game here. There's also a lot of interest in NFV at the moment.
Right.
Rosemary, if I could ask, with this uptake and interest in NFV, are these technologies really enabling new network service features for customers, and if so, how?
It is happening. It's happening at a gradual pace. We're seeing a lot of new features that are upcoming. Some of them have already been announced, but into 2017, we're going to definitely see a more uptick on this. One of the more interesting things is network as a service with SD-WAN as a network service function. Other NFV type applications are in terms of replacement of equipment on the customer premise, and certainly virtual routers or combining functions, routing, firewalls, WAN optimization, other types of things that that customers had either individual appliances, and now they're consolidating onto a standard. And as Erin had said earlier, we're talking about making that change in the customer side. They're not just looking at access; they're looking at their whole network.
So more as a service type functions coming out.
Yeah, definitely.
Right.
Rosemary mentioned SD-WAN. Erin, do we see this as an opportunity, a strategic opportunity, or more of a competitive threat?
Wow, that's the million-dollar question lately, isn't it? I guess we'd see both. For the service provider that has has an SDN-based infrastructure already in place, baked in, let's say, this is an opportunity for them, because they have the ability now to offer these types of SD-WAN style services. Most of them call it a hybrid WAN, where they have many different types of connectivity that can be interworked seamlessly across their network and offered to their existing customers as an upgrade, or as they bring on new locations. Do you want to go maybe talk about some of the other
Right. Well,
types of
and then the other
providers?
side, there is it's a threat and potentially a defensive move in that the service providers that don't have that ability, don't have the SDN architecture to provide those services dynamically through their networks. And in that case, we're seeing overlays of SD-WAN implementations, selecting a specific vendor and buying into that vendor's technology then to supply these services. And obviously the goal is to retain customers, not lose any customers, and also to kind of open up opportunities. Mostly we see this in mid-markets, just by virtue of the types of applications that customers are seeing, a lot of branch applications. So in some cases it's an opportunity, in some cases it's a threat, and we expect this to kind of debate to go on as this market shakes out. I would add too that it's a very complex issue for customers. We've seen a lot of hype that's driving RFPs and the number of different types of solutions. So it's not a simple decision, unlike some other transitions that we've seen in the market over when to make a move. There's a certain trigger that would say this is the benefit I'm getting. The benefits are kind of many and unrelated necessarily from one to the other. So it's a complex market.
Right.
Final question for you both then, and Erin, if I could start with you. Are we seeing any other major trends in network access connectivity?
Lots of major trends in network access connectivity. The first is this emerging SD-WAN threat or not threat, which really comes down to a shift in access networking connectivity. How are you doing it now? Is it a legacy style TDM or T1 access pipe that you're running out of bandwidth and you might like to upgrade that? Or do you have Ethernet? Are you happy with it? Do you have fiber? If you are, that's the gold standard and that's working for you. But lots of other things are impacting it. There's a regulatory environment right now that's very unsettled. It used to be called special access, now it's broadband data services, and there's a lot of uncertainty right now. The service providers are filing and filing, and so we still have to kind of wait and see how that shakes out. There's fiber, and as I said, gold standard. Service providers are committing to offering fiber-based services, but that takes a lot of work. You have to dig, you have to build, and you have to get it to the customer. And so we're seeing that continue, and but it's a challenge for them.
Right, and that access piece is always kind of the the last mile, first mile, however you look at it. It's still a physical issue, and even with the best technology, somewhere, somehow, something has to happen to get that connection between a customer site and a central office, or even a mobile device and some cell tower. I mean, there's got to be something that is in between. So we see this access piece as being really kind of driving some things, where either investment in networks, in fiber deployments, in divestitures of assets or acquisitions of assets to broaden the footprint. And that's going to continue for some time.
Fascinating. Well, Rosemary and Erin, thank you both very much indeed.
Thank you.